Hey everybody, welcome to Leadership 101. I'm your host, Andy Sokolovich, the owner and CEO of Bent Business Marketing. Are you ready to get started learning about leadership? Well, I'm ready to teach you, so let's dive right into it. Here's what we're going to cover. First, we're going to cover the definition of leadership. Pretty basic. Moving on, the difference between a leader and a manager. Really kind of subtle, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth. Goal setting and motivation, how to build trust, and defining that you are actually a symbol. A symbol of what? We'll get into that. How to strengthen your followers. And then I'm going to give you the 14 attributes of a great leader. Funny but true. A little quick cartoon. What can we do about this leadership course? I don't know. What do you think? Isn't there anyone we could ask? This is a big problem in our country today, is you have a lot of people who are sitting around knowing that they have to take a stance and become a leader, yet they're sitting there waiting for somebody else to do it before them because maybe they're scared. They're a little bit nervous. They don't know if they can handle the pressure. Maybe they don't know what it takes to be a really good leader. But I'm here today to kind of solve that problem for you. So leadership defined, process of persuasion or example by which an individual or leadership team induces a group to pursue objectives held by the leader or shared by the leader and his or her followers. When we get further in the slideshow presentation, I'm going to be talking about how to strengthen your followers. Every great leader has a group of constituents or followers. Now, they're just not going to blindly lead or blindly follow you, as a leader like sheep. Your job is to strengthen them, and I'm going to tell you how. So here we have two silhouettes. One on the right, Batman, one on the left. Well, we guess it's Robin. So you have two people. One's definitely a leader. One is the guy in charge, and one's kind of the manager. But where do they differentiate? Well, you know what? They really don't. Robin may be the manager, and Batman may be the leader. But a manager leads, and a leader manages. It's always going to be that way. So you can't be a great manager and a not-so-great leader, or a great leader and a not-so-great manager. You have to learn both disciplines. Next, we're going to be talking about setting goals. Here's a little quote. Leaders point us in the right direction and then tell us where to get moving. That was just from some high school kid that I yanked out of a book. And it was actually John Gardner's book on leadership. But the thing is as a leader, we have to set goals. So we have to declare a vision. We have to come up with solutions, and then we have to take actions. A community may have several different goals. I know the community that I live in, Clinton, Iowa, has several different goals, but it is the job of an effective leader to organize and prioritize those goals to create a shared vision and formulate a solution or action plan. Without these three components, a vision, some solutions, and an action plan, what are you going to do? How are people going to follow you to that next stage of the game, that next chapter in their path? This is all great. But what if I have people that are sitting around and they just feel like they're unmotivated? Maybe they don't like their job, or maybe they don't like their supervisor. The other day I was at a Dale Carnegie course, and we were sitting there talking about engaging with your employees. Leaders should engage with their constituents and their followers. Then they brought up on the screen, they said, out of these three topics, which one do you think affects a worker or an employee or a follower more to complete the job or to follow the task at hand? And the first one was senior leadership. The senior leadership would affect your ability to pursue a goal. The next one was their direct supervisor, so let's say a manager. And then the third one was a love of what they do. Now, I ignorantly, selected a love for what they do. I would think somebody would have to dump themselves in their job in order to be really passionate about reaching that next goal. I was more than incorrect. Blown away. Over 3/4 of the people in that about 70 member audience said that their direct supervisor, their middle manager, was either the make or break guy or girl that was going to either allow them to reach their goal, reach their quota, do better at work, do better at life, or if they were bad manager, they would just break them down. One of the things that I thought was really funny is there's all these middle managers and there's all these people in the workforce that are supervisors, and they're just bad leaders. Remember what I said? Batman and Robin, you can't be a great leader and a bad manager and vice versa. My thing is these people are now in a management position and they're detrimental to the success of the entire group, of the business, of the community, of the town, of the municipality. They're a virus. Who's putting them in these positions? Where is senior leadership determining that these people have the skills it takes to lead people towards a common goal? And that's a big problem for me, because with bad leaders, with bad managers, they don't have the ability to motivate. And the motivation in your employees or your constituents already exists. It's there. They're motivated about something. They may not be motivated about making you 10 more widgets per week because that way you can make more money. They may not be motivated to follow your every direction because they think you're an idiot. They may not be motivated to show up on work on time, but I guarantee you there's something in their life that they are motivated about. They're just not giving you that motivation. So it's your job as an effective leader to figure out what it is and show some kind of comparison, some kind of unity between what your goal is and what they're already personally looking to attain. So motivating, you have to give your team, your group, your employees some information. You got to tell them why they're working towards this goal, what you hope to achieve from that goal, and when you think the goal is going to be complete. Without these three, why, what, and when, your team has no idea where they're going. The destination is off in the horizon. It's blurry, it's not focused, and they have no idea how they're going to get there. The next thing I want to talk about is building trust. This is huge. If you want to be a leader, you have to be trustworthy. And there's some basic guidelines. Number one, be honest. Duh. You can't be a lying cheat or a thief. You have to be honest. People are not going to trust you if you lie to them. Integrity. What is integrity? Integrity, in my book, is doing the right thing when nobody's looking, because you never know who's watching. Moving on, we're going to talk about being a symbol. You are a symbol of your organization, community, state, and nation. You are symbolic. You represent the entire group. You're a symbol of unity. You're the community identity. Your face identifies the health and wellness of that community. And you are the first impression. So you need to start acting like it. And then you got Mr. Burns right there, the Simpsons character who's just a bad leader, money grubbing, loves his business, but loves working people to death so he gets more money. You are a symbol of unity. You got to remember that as an effective leader, you represent the entire group. The United States is represented by our commander-in-chief, our president. Our cities are represented by their mayors. States are represented by their governors and their state representatives. You got to understand that you and your actions are constantly in the public eye. So if you want to be an amazing leader, if you want to be just absolutely great, you need to start acting like it. So now we're a leader. We're at this position. We now hold this position of somewhat authority. We're a leader of our community. We're a leader of our business. But now how are we going to strengthen our followers? Well, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to allow them to develop their own initiative. Do not let them feel like they're just following through with your idea as a leader. Allow them to develop their own initiative. Use their own judgment. Allow them to do what they feel is best, what they can apply as their strengths to, what they can do to better the overall goal. And allow them to grow. People want to grow as individuals. Your constituents now are maybe aspiring leaders. So without you giving them the opportunity to grow personally and professionally, spiritually, how do you ever expect them to learn? So leaders who strengthen their people may create a legacy that will last for a very long time. Again, John W. Gardner. Amazing individual. Buy his books on Amazon. You'll love them. Let's just break this down. Leaders who strengthen. So we talk about strengthening our followers, helping to develop their own initiative, use their own judgment, and enable them or empowering them to grow. So they're going to strengthen their own people, and they're going to create a legacy that will last a very long time. What do we mean by a legacy that will last a very long time? Your job as a leader is to groom and empower those individuals who are now your followers, your constituents, and allow them to blossom so that they can eventually take your position. No, there's not a single effective leader out there who's scared of losing their position. If they're scared of losing their position of assumed authority, then they're not a great leader. Your job is to groom the youth of your business, the youth of the community, those up-and-comers, so eventually they can work with you, share your mission, and then focus on that common goal. That's the big point here. Last but not least, we have 14 of these, and I'm just going to rip them off here, and we're going to talk about them a little bit. But I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper right now, print this screen or whatever it is that you want to do, but I want you to print out and copy these 14 attributes of a great leader. The first one we're going to start with is, and again, boom, John Gardner, man. This is like, I feel like I'm just ripping this guy off, but everything that I love about leadership, it always kind of stems back to him. And here's a famous saying of Mr. Gardner's: we are all faced with a series of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as insoluble problems. One of the things that I do in my marketing and advertising business is I love it when people say, no, we can't do that, Andy. We could never do that. And I think that's what we have to do. Because what you just told me is what you're asking me to do is seemingly impossible. But if I can get it done, man, that's going to turn some heads. So that's the game that I want to get into. 1, these are the 14 attributes now. 1, physical vitality and stamina. You look at some of our nation's past leaders and you think, well, Andy, they weren't picturesque versions of the male body or female body or super slim and out riding their bike 25 miles a day. But this is not what I'm talking about. Physical vitality and stamina. I mean, they have what it takes to dig through the trenches. They don't have to be Iron Men and women. They just have to have what it takes to dig through those trenches and kind of bust through any kind of force of resistance. They have to have stamina, because when you're working towards a goal and you're a leader, your followers are going to be asking you questions, your constituents are going to be asking you questions, and you're going to have the strength and the stamina to respond to those questions, to get out and lend a hand. And that's why that's number one. Number two, intelligence and judgment in action. Self-explanatory. Intelligence. They got to be smart individuals. And my guess is if they're appointed to a leadership position, I'm hoping the people that put them there recognize that intelligence. And judgment and action. They have to think, not just react. They got to think about what they're going to do and then get in there. They're not going to delay. They're not going to waste time, but they're going to think and they're going to have a pretty good action plan. 3, willingness and eagerness to accept responsibility. Any leader that ducks and dodges responsibility is not a leader that I want to follow. No way. I want somebody who's begging for more responsibility. To me, that's a badass leader. 4, task competence. You're not just going to throw somebody to the wolves and tell them to lead a group of people towards a common goal and they have no idea how the task at hand even actually works. So nobody's going to go grab me and say, hey, Andy, I think you're a very effective leader. I want you to orchestrate and lead the management team who's going to put the next man on the moon. You have to have competence for that task. 5, understanding of follower, constituents, and their needs. We covered this before, but you have to know what your followers and constituents want. Any kind of political leader, who's whether in municipal politics, state politics, or national politics, is going to tell you that you need to know what your followers and constituents want. Their needs. You have to basically ask them, what can I do for you to make your life better, to boost your quality of life? That's what's going to get their juices flowing. 6, skilled in dealing with people. Come on, folks. This is a no-brainer. In order to be an effective leader, you have to have people skills. I would actually fall back on the old 80-20 rule. 80% of leadership is knowing how to deal with people. 20% is all the logistical stuff and setting up an action plan. But 80% is just being able to engage, empower, and really understand people. 7, have the need to achieve. Do you want it? That's what a great leader says. He wants this more than anything. Their heart throbs, their blood boils, their legs are fidgety. They want to run to that finish line because the goal that they are picturing for them and all their followers is right there. It's attainable. They want and they need it to achieve it. 8, capacity to motivate. We talked about motivation. You have to be able to motivate people to work towards a common goal and to work together. Number 9, courage, resolution, and steadiness. Basic stuff. We understand courage, resolution, and steadiness. I don't even need to explain that anymore. But those are 3 requirements that you have to have in order to be an effective leader. 10, capacity to win and hold trust. With no trust, there is no leadership. With no trust, there is no leadership. With no trust, you have a mutiny on your hands. 11, capacity to manage, decide, and set priorities. 12, confidence. To be an effective leader, you have to have an insane amount of confidence in yourself with a healthy dash of swagger. You have to have a little dramatic appearance. You have to have a little bit of swagger, a little bit of personality, but you also got to be confident in your abilities, because that confidence will spread like the flu virus. Everybody that sees you holding your head high, squaring your shoulders, leading them into battle are going to know that you're the guy that they want to follow. 13, ascendance, dominance, and assertiveness. You have to be an assertive leader. And I don't mean you have to be a disciplinarian. I mean that you have to be assertive. Because when you're a leader in a position where you need to tell your managers to do something, they need to be able to do it. And they need to understand that you mean business. So that's kind of a fine line you're walking between being assertive, I guess, and being too hard. But you guys understand what I'm getting at. You have to have the ability to go ahead and tell your management team, your constituents, your followers that this is the way it's going to be. I understand your needs. I understand your desires. We've created a game plan. Now let's take action. And 14, adaptability, flexibility of approach. If you've ever been in a military situation, in a battle situation, and you're a leader, you're a sergeant, you know that you have to adapt, overcome, and be flexible to the approach of your leadership, to your action plan. It is always changing. So you have to be able to adapt. I've been spouting off about leadership this whole time now. And you're going to say, well, who is this Andy Sokolovich? Well, that's me. That's my picture on the bottom right-hand corner. What have I been doing that makes me qualified to talk about leadership? That's me down there in the right-hand corner. I served in the Air Force for 11 years. In the Air Force, I served as an air traffic controller, which, trust me, if the next presentation I'm going to do is going to be on customer service, because air traffic control is probably the pinnacle for customer service jobs. Advanced leadership training. Loves teaching people about effective leadership. I do love teaching people about effective leadership, because it's something that is never going to go away. There's always going to be a need for great leaders. I love to watch people when I go into business. I love to watch managers of fast food restaurants or owners and CEOs interact with their corporations at monthly meetings. I love to see what people are doing, because I can always learn from their styles. I'm addicted to books, crazy addicted. Ask my wife. The guy that delivers our mail thinks that I have a used bookstore online or something, but I love reading. I am married to my lovely wife, Marlena Sokolovich. We have 2 children, Adeline and Drew. I recently ran for city council here in Clinton, Iowa, and I received 18% of the total vote. And while I did not earn a seat on council, I was proud of myself for my accomplishments, because I had only been in the community for about 11 months, and I threw my hat in the ring, and I kind of stepped up, and I thought, listen, I don't have all of the answers, but I know how to lead the people towards that common goal, towards what we're trying to fix. And along the way, them and I will work together to form a solution. And I learned a ton about empowering others when I was on the campaign trail, especially when it came to motivating people to take action. It's amazing when you're sitting there looking at the whites in somebody's eyes and they're feeling lost, they're distraught, their power bills through the roof, or their property tax bill through the roof, and they're looking at you. They want some kind of help. And when you're there saying that you're going to be their next leader, they want to hear how you plan on taking action. So that was a huge thing that I had to overcome, but it was an amazing experience. Do you or your team want to learn more about effective leadership skills? I hope you do. I hope you never stop having that burning desire to learn how to become a better leader. I am a speaker for hire. If you would like me to come and speak to your group, one-on-one or a group setting, it doesn't even matter. I want to get out there and share this message about effective leadership. Give me a ring, 815-441-2219. Again, that's 815-441-2219. Or you can email me, andy@bentbusinessmarketing.com. Hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/bentbusinessmarketing. And always visit our website for the latest and greatest in bent business babble. That's bentbusinessmarketing.com. Thank you very much for sitting back and kind of having this 20-minute fireside chat on leadership with me. I appreciate your attention, and I know you guys are really going to delve deep into the stuff that I taught you. You're going to pull it out just at the right time when you need to help an organization, help your business get to that next level. It's all about winning, and winning takes great leadership. If the blind lead the blind, both shall fall in a ditch. Again, this is Andy from Bent Business Marketing. I'll talk to you guys soon.